Oh, completely screwed that up. Man, oh man. So, I want to apologize, guys. I screwed that up. I'm not going to mess with it no more. We've got it plugged into an outlet, so it shouldn't die. Everything should be okay. But I screwed that stream up. So, back again. Yep. Oh, man. He's back. All right. We're back in action. Man, that sucks because there was 1,200 people on there. We were just getting tight. But it is what it is. Sometimes it'd be like that. So, where did I leave off? Let's go back to this and view the stream. And let's look at the comments. Let's see where I left off. I guess we'll answer some questions. What's a good 8th mile time to be competitive in no prep? I don't know. There isn't a one-size-fits-all answer or approach to that, because here's the thing. It depends on where you're at, what you're racing, all that kind of stuff. Because I can tell you I went rounds in Tennessee and never went faster than 7.0. But that surface was pretty bad. Now I know what other guys were going, and part of that was just luck of the draw, and surfaces like that, if you can make it down and the other guy can't, you win. And there's a lot that goes into that. Now I think that if you want to be competitive in no prep, if you're on the front side of a track, you need to be probably in the 5s. But if you get deep into the 6s, low 6s in the 8th, you can go out and have fun, and you can probably go rounds. Because honestly, my Nova with the big block on motor should be going probably mid 6s or faster on a decent surface. But I've got so much power out of it, the way we're trying to make it go down the track and everything else. There's and the track surface itself, it just is what it is. What branch of military were you? I was in the Army first. That's when I was 17. I joined the Army, and then I went into the Air Force. So I went to Iraq with the Army. I went to Kuwait with the Air Force, and boom. What kind of quarter-mile time can my Nova do? Nothing. Well, especially right now. It's still got the 456 gear in it. It's not making it to the quarter. We'll run out of RPM. So, back live now. Sorry, Mallory was texting me. Oh. Boom. Oh, here we go. Oh, I can do that. Okay, so back to the story. So the story of how I met Billy and how I got so involved in SRC and all that kind of stuff. If you guys were watching the last video, I met Billy because I had started doing the podcast, and he was one of my first podcast guests. Actually, him and Derek, Slower Than You, Liam Neeson, however you know him, him and Billy were my first 2 guests. So we had become friends at that time, and boom, and then I guess from that point is when we went to the race in Pennsylvania, and that's where we first met. So, to be honest with you, I don't even really know. I'm trying to think like how that all worked out. I mean, we became friends from the podcast. We met at this race in Pennsylvania. I had been traveling the country doing different things, filming races. I wasn't really racing myself at that time. I had raced before that, but not like traveling or anything. I never left the state of Delaware other than maybe to go to Maryland to Cecil County, but I started traveling the country, and obviously, at that time, Billy was throwing events. They were doing those Midnight Madness events and stuff like that. So I wanted to go out there to Ohio. I spent some time in Ohio, and the, we just, I don't even know. We just, to be honest with you, I think the way that it kind of worked is just, we became friends, and the position in life that Billy was in, as far as where he was like with YouTube and everything else, and I think it's something that's kind of carried on throughout time, is it's hard to trust people. It's hard to get to know people. It's hard because you never really know what anybody's intentions are, and this, that, and the other. And believe it or not, that's a real thing, and that is like something that we talk about, even to this day. Like, no offense, I love Brendan to death, but I specifically, I'm not saying anything I haven't said to him, but like, I've had conversations with him. He's started hanging around recently. He started helping us out, and he started doing some work for me in the booth. And I asked him questions because we got to get to kind of know people. It's hard to just take everything at face value. So I think at the time that I had met Billy, I had my own kind of drive and vision of where I was going with my stuff, and he obviously had been working on his stuff for a while, and we lined up. We were friends, and we worked well together. And I think one of the things I don't think a lot of people know is that the older SRC videos, I mean, even now to this day, I don't know if people realize this or not, but like, older SRC videos, I filmed parts of those. I shared footage with them, and, to help, to get different angles, or, when there were times when, because you got to realize at that time, I don't think, I think everybody was pretty like familiarized with a camera, but at that time, Tommy wasn't as involved as he is now. Bill didn't have a channel yet. Like, there was a lot of things, so I just kind of, helped out when I could. Hey, I got this pass from a different angle, or, you guys were busy, I filmed this, here, take this, blah, blah, blah. And even now we still do it, and that's part of the reason we work so well as a team together. And, if you look, everybody always kind of just fits in, and we figure out, we pick up where we need to pick up. At this time, Tommy wasn't even dating Allison. Like, Allison wasn't around yet. But, now, like, we've got a pretty well working team. It's like any other team in the world. There's shit, and, there's inside stuff and whatever. But, like, I think we do a pretty good job now where we know what everybody needs. We know what everybody needs to get done. We know what it takes to put out an SRC video, a DNR video, an SRC photo video, Bill's video. Shit, there's shit that I filmed that's in Bill's videos now. Like, we all help each other out super well. So, we just became friends, and it's kind of one of the things, like, you ever heard, like, in the Fast and Furious, like, when they were talking about, like, the guy who just showed up and never left. Like, I was kind of one of those guys. Like, and that's just kind of the weird way that it works in life. Sometimes there's people from back in the day and everything else, but sometimes you just show up, and people just show up and they just don't leave, and they just fit a spot in the team where it works out, and they go from there. So let me scroll through some of these questions. Did I miss the JJ story? No, I haven't told the JJ story yet. So if you guys want, I will tell the JJ story. How fast do you got to be to run in the Shitbox class? Don, the reason we created Shitbox races and that class and everything else, just up front and foremost, there will probably never be another Shitbox class. Like, I will not throw a Shitbox class at another race. It's going to be all at Shitbox races. The whole day is Shitbox races. And the whole reason we created that was so that way it didn't matter what you ran. And if you guys have ever like watched the videos or seen any of the races or been to any of them, you'll see that like I give people the back tire, I give people a car length, 2 car lengths, whatever. Like, we try to even it up, and it's small buy-in stuff. And what it is really about is getting out and going racing with your friends. It is about fun and enjoying yourself, and we do what we can to even it up. So it doesn't matter if you have an 8-second eighth mile car and you got to race a 650 car, because I'm going to space that out. I'm going to give you 2 cars maybe to hit. You know, we're going to do something to make it interesting and try to make it a little more fair. Do I have a 2-speed trans? Yes, I have a Powerglide. Have you thought about a close ratio of 400 turbo and 410 gears? Here's another thing that I wanted to address kind of from like the last video that I talked about, some of the things I addressed in the comments and stuff. There is all kinds of things we've thought about. Obviously, I am limited by a few things. Number one, time is big, because if you notice, we've been doing these races back to back to back to back. And by the time we go to a race, 8 hours away, drive home the next day, get home, unload, work on the cars for 3 or 4 days. And not only my car, Billy's car, Tommy's car, whatever needs to be done in those couple days, and then get back out on the road to go to another race. So I'm limited by time. Time's a big factor. Obviously, like anyone else in the world, I'm limited by money. I've only got so much of it, and there's only so much I can do. Believe me, there's a ton of things I would love to do to that car. I just can't afford them. And the flip side is, that's not going to stop me from racing. I'm not going to sit there and say, oh, well, my car, doesn't work to the level that I want it to, or, I would really need these parts. And I'm not going to pigeonhole myself to where I just build a car for years before I ever get to race it for the first time. And that's something that I did with the Nova the first time. When I LS swapped it, it didn't have any fucking thing in there. Like, none of the parts were in there. It was factory everything besides motor and trains. And over time, I did the rear, I did the leaf springs, I did the cow tracks, I did the front control arms, I did the springs, I did shocks, I did all of these things while I was racing it. So that is a huge piece of advice I'd give to anybody. Go out and enjoy the car and race it while you're upgrading. Because if you just wait until the car is done, number one, they're never done. And number two, you're going to sit on it for 2 years trying to get it done and never actually enjoy it. Get it to a point where you can drive it and race it and then go enjoy it. Because if you don't, you're gonna lose interest. It's hard to keep up with the project and all that kind of stuff. I have a shop in S10, but it's slow. How do I start filming anything when there's nothing going on around here? Number one answer I give everybody: consistency. Consistency beats everything. I don't care who you are and what you're doing on YouTube. If you put out 1 video a week for 6 months straight, I guarantee you at the end of 6 months you will get more views per video than you did at the start. And what'll also happen is, sometimes shit happens. Sometimes you just get lucky. Sometimes a video goes viral for no reason, and that'll help build a subscriber base and everything else. Stay true to yourself, and consistency beats everything. There is no other answer. And that's the thing I think a lot of people don't realize. Even now, there's 400 people watching. Had I done this live stream 2 years ago, there might be 10 people watching. The difference is, I didn't do anything, there was no secret answer or whatever. I just never gave up. Old man still mad at you? I don't think the old man's mad at me. Changing gears will help greatly. Yes. So I ordered 373 gears, and the Nova is currently at Lucor getting a new steering box, because that steering box that was in it was a 30, 40, 50 year old, however old it was, manual steering box that I got from some guy. I bought from some guy off of Facebook, and it's getting the bump steer kit. I guess while I was there, they were like, hey, we really want to do taller ball joints. I said, all right, well, you guys got it, so go ahead and do it. Is Bill sharing the jerky? I see you guys. George, if you sent us, or if you sent Bill the 10 packs of jerky that had all the different flavors in it, the answer to that question is yes. I ate some of it myself. Preferably, well, not preferably, but I remember eating a bunch of the honey one, and I enjoyed it very good. How mad did the old man get when the trailer hit the Suburban? So here's the thing, and this is where I don't know how to word this in any other way that doesn't make it sound kind of strange, but it just is. the old man is everyone's dad, and I've been there long enough, and I've slept on their couch and everything else 1.5 million times, and I've been across the country and done different stuff with him. He's pretty much like my dad. So it's, everybody has a different childhood experience, a different relationship with your dad, all that kind of stuff. And, yeah, he gets pissed off. Yeah, I have children. I get pissed off. Like, when they do dumb shit. Like, that's not like oh my God, that's such a horrible quality and this, that, and the other. Like, no, that's a normal human reaction. So, isn't Allison their sister? Absolutely not. I don't know where people are getting this shit from and everything else, because we laugh about it. It's kind of frustrating sometimes. Allison is nobody's sister. Allison is Tommy's girlfriend. For some reason, people seem to believe that Katie is Tommy's girlfriend. Katie is one of the people that ran Marion, and her husband, Kevin, they did it together. They're not, it's like a whole thing. Matt Bill said you got into YouTube. Yes, I did. So I don't know how old these stories are, or how old these comments are. So we do got to get into Duke. What was the good question? Duke, so what do I do for a living? Okay, this is it. So I have been self-employed for 7-8 years now. So I do a whole mess of stuff. I own Shitbox Supply, shitboxsupply.com. If you guys have ever gotten anything from there, I own that. I started that. I have done and still currently do a little bit of contract work where companies will pay me to take video, pictures, produce videos for them, like, edit them, all that kind of stuff, make commercials, which this also kind of ties into the JJ story. I worked for JJ the Boss a little bit, doing the same kind of thing. And I like, this is it. I do anything I can. Like, if I need to make money, I might go, take another gig filming and editing for somebody, or put out more of my own videos. We've gotten to the point now where, my YouTube videos are actually getting views more than, 1,000 or 2,000 views and that kind of stuff. So, Livewire's my crack. What up from Detroit? Matt, do you need a 9-inch rear? Yes. So I know that in the future I'm going to need a 9-inch. Right now it's got an 8.5, 10 bolt in it. That's not going to last. The reason we're getting away with it now is that drive shaft in that rear. The reason we're getting away with it now is because we're racing on such terrible surfaces that it doesn't hook. But one day when we race on surfaces that do hook, it's going to be a problem. It's going to break that. What's a direct member? Mally. Okay, so if you guys don't know, Mally May is Mallory. That's my significant other. That's what she means by direct member. Let's see. Oh yeah, she did. Man, thank you guys. James, George Carlin, thank you guys. How long was I in the military? Okay, so I joined. It's a whole other life story we gotta go into. I moved out of home at 17, and I joined the Army at 17. And I was in the Army till I was 21, at which time I was in the Army National Guard. I joined the Army, I was in the Army National Guard. I went to Iraq for a year, did convoy security with the 41st Infantry out of Oregon. So I did that for a year, came home, I got a full-time job with the Army Guard, and then at that time I had been offered a job in the Air National Guard, a full-time permanent position as a firefighter for them, so I ended up switching over, and I did that till I was 26, 27, 28, somewhere in those things. I would love to line up Fool's Gold with Bipolar. If you're talking about Bipolar, the nasty ass truck that has all the videos and all that kind of stuff, then I don't know. I don't know that I want them problems, but the chances are there's probably more than one Bipolar. How long have you had the Nova? I've had the Nova 2 years, 3 years, something like that. Kentucky in the house, go team meatball. So good to see you. Keep smashing it. Thank you. Kentucky, you're from Oregon. No, I am not from Oregon. I live in Delaware, but when I deployed, the unit that I was under was the 41st Infantry out of Oregon. So, happy Thanksgiving. 8-8, yeah. Here's the thing. I don't really want to do an 8-8. I don't know. We'll see. It's going to come down to what's available at the time, what my budget allows, all that kind of stuff. The way the JJ thing worked out was, I think it was when he had come to Delaware. I made a video. I don't even remember how. Oh no, it goes back even further. But long story short, I had got invited with some folks that were racing JJ on the street. So if you go back a couple years ago to when they raced St. Louis on the street, St. Louis and Oklahoma, they were back-to-back episodes. We were in St. Louis. I got invited out to that. So you guys, like, if you guys go way back, this was, 3-4 years ago. I don't know, babe, I might need some help here with my times. But I was on the street for that. So I had met some of the folks. I had met some of the different drivers, and through different things, just being involved in the industry and all that. And they had come to Delaware, which is my home state. So I think I had made a video off of that, and I think it was like one of my first YouTube videos that actually made like more than $100. So I had looked at the video and I was like, well, JJ's throwing a race. I want to say it was Alabama. JJ was throwing a race in Alabama, and I looked at it, and it was a time of the year where there wasn't really a whole lot going on. And I was like, all right, let me see. I said, if this video, if I go down to Alabama and I can make 2 videos, possibly 3 if I do this, that, and the other, and if they pay what this Delaware video paid, I can at least probably afford to rent a car to drive down there, sleep in my car, and I will not make any money, but it should cover the expenses, and I will have new content that will help me grow the YouTube channel. I did a lot of that kind of shit. I did a lot of driving across the country, sleeping in rental cars, sleeping on people's couches, just doing whatever I could to get by. If you guys saw Bill's video at all, I used to sell hot dogs. Like, I would go to Walmart, buy hot dogs, and cook them at the track in between rounds and sell them, so that way I could get gas money to get home. I did a lot of shit. So anyways, I go down to Alabama. I meet up with the folks down there, and I'm just doing my own thing. A couple of the people there know me and everything else, and start filming everything. Somehow something came up. They didn't have a finish line guy, and I think that people severely underestimate the importance of a good finish line guy, a good finish line camera person or camera woman or whatever. So I was like, all right, well, I'll step up and do it. So I did, and if you look at one of those videos, you'll see I did a lot of shooting from the finish line coming forward, and I made that whole video like finish line coming forward. So I ended up doing that, and I talked to them a little bit and everything, and it worked out that they said, hey, we really like you, we really like what you do, and we would like you to be at any arm drop race that you can be at. I said, all right, cool. And then they handed me a check, which wasn't a ton of money, but it was like still just awesome, because I had gone down there under the expectation that I was just going to try to make enough money off the YouTube video to cover expenses. And so we had gone down there, I'd gone down there and done that, and then from there I started going to JJ arm drop races. And at this point in time, I think maybe I was working for Hot Shot Secret at the time too. That was another thing. Like, I became sponsored by Hot Shot Secret. I worked for Hot Shot Secret. I do contract work for them, like video and photography work, which also led to me meeting some of the other guys, JJ's crew that were also sponsored by Hot Shot. So there's a lot of like intertwining things that happened. But I started going down there, and I started going to arm drop races, and it got to a point where they were, I was a part of the arm drop race team where I would go down and I would, they had me in a hotel. I was in a hotel with all them guys, and I filmed all weekend, and I made videos, and I had made commercials. They would run like local commercials, television commercials, local ads in certain places where they were having arm drop races, and so I made some of those, and we did that for a while, and it kind of, just with everything that I had going on, with what I was doing with YouTube and everything else, it got to a point where our schedules didn't exactly line up the way we would have liked to have. And you guys also got to realize that this time in my life, I was also driving to Michigan once a month, Detroit Hood TV. I was the flagger for the Detroit Hood TV PYOP events, so I'd go out there once a month and flag. And usually what I would do, oh man, we're having story time. I would go out to Michigan and I would do a PYOP on Friday night, and I would flag that, and pretty much I would make enough money for, the trip to cover the expenses and all that kind of stuff. And then I had a merch set up there, and I had a girl there that worked my merch booth. She was local there, and so then I would sell merch there. Then the next day, Saturday, I would come back down to Ohio, and I would either hang out with Billy and them, or there would be a race in Ohio going on. I would go to that. And this also ties into my love for Marion County and Katie and Kevin. Sometimes I would go down to Marion County, and I would show up, and they'd be like, hey, can you be the announcer tonight? And I would be the announcer, and they'd throw me, a couple $100 to be the announcer for the night. And that was like one of the greatest gigs in the world, because all I did was sit on the microphone and make fun of everybody. But everybody loved it. The crowd loved it. The racers loved it. Like, it was such a different kind of announcing than what you were used to hearing at a racetrack. I really tried to keep it fun. So oh my goodness, it's lagging. Sorry guys, there's only but so much I can do, and it kind of is what it is. I think the internet kind of goes back and forth. Now I need to look for more questions. So that was kind of the story of JJ, and then I guess Mallory said that I started working for Hot Shots really more towards the end of JJ, so that was probably part of it too, is that I wanted to do this work for Hot Shots, and that was a little bit more a little bit steadier contract work. There was, it wasn't as sporadic, and it was a little bit more guaranteed. Earl, you are the man. Safety gear fund. Safety is important. So that's one of the things that, talking about how far the Nova has come, is that let me move towards the Wi-Fi. I cannot win today. And a whole bunch of people dropping off. Video is down again. Nope, here we go. We're back up. I just moved a little bit. So let me collect up my trash here, because I don't like to be leaving trash everywhere like a jerk. And not knock the battery out of this thing again. Back, yeah. So, now I forgot what I was saying. I think I was looking for more questions is what was happening. But I want to clean this up and I guess move. Who thinks Matt should give the Dodger to Nick? Jake, I will tell you this. That was a thought in my mind. Here is the problem. No, I wish I was screwing with you guys. I really wish that the live stream would just stay up and operational. I have no intent of screwing with you guys. I don't think that's any fun. Here's the problem with that. The Dodger was built by myself and the guys here that own DNS Fabricators. And the way that that deal worked out, and the way that that is, and the kind of way that it is for me personally, is that I have said that nobody can own the Dodger besides myself or the 3 other guys that built it. That's just a personal thing for me. Maybe that will change in years to come or something else. But, number one, I also don't want it to be, that was a pretty important part of my life and a pretty important memory, and, some pretty cool stuff that happened. So I don't ever want the Dodger to be in a place where I look back and it's 10 years down the road and now I can't get it back. Because maybe, right now, don't get me wrong, it means a lot to me. But, maybe right now it's not super important, but it might be something that 10 years from now would be super important to me. So that's why I think the only people that should own it are myself and the three other guys that built it. And then this way, if we kind of keep it in this circle where we know it's not going to go anywhere, you know what I mean? One of the three of us will always own it. I think that's the best case scenario for that particular truck. Plus, I'm not sure that Nick would want it anyway, and honestly, it wouldn't make a good drag car. Like, it's not meant to be a drag car. Probably wouldn't make a good drag car. You know, at very best, the most he would use from that thing is the body itself. So, man, I can't get this thing to stick for shit anywhere, and I want to stick it down. So, actually, now, because I see somebody made a comment about this, about driving the Dodger. Now, we have talked about possibly, there was just a talk in a little group chat the other day, there we go, about possibly letting somebody else drive the Dodger, possibly Brennan, but let's go through some more of these questions. Have you thought of your Nova out of a 1/64th scale die cast? I don't even know who would make that, and I don't even know that I could afford to have those made, and I don't even know that they would sell. So, although a very cool idea, yeah. Let's see. Matt, any chance you would move south? I don't know. I've talked about it. There's been, look, there's a lot of goals and everything that we all have, and I think if you saw like Billy's Instagram post, he's really ready to get back to work on some shit, and I am probably going to be somewhat involved in those processes of, you know, getting back to work on shit and certain shit. Sorry, I'm trying to grab this extension cord so I can see if I can plug this thing in. But, you know, we've talked about how cool it would be, and this was an idea that was brought up that I would love to see come to fruition, and maybe if it's something I could do myself in the future, is maybe like getting a house in the Carolinas or something that we can like Airbnb out while we're not using it, but we race down there enough that we could have it for the weekends down there and that kind of stuff. Have an aftermarket cast iron third member and 31 spline spring spool 9-inch. Damn, I'm gonna have to get up with you. Race on the West Coast somewhere one day. I would love to one day, but I mean, it's the same thing over and over again. Believe me, we all have big dreams and big goals and would love to do awesome, incredible shit, like travel to the West Coast. And there's a track in Alaska that is like the most beautiful track I've ever seen, and we want to go up there one time, like just because it'd be cool. But it's all time and money. Is really, you know, we just got to keep working till we get to a place that we can afford to do those things. That place you did the show in Augusta used to be a chemical plant. Hell yeah, yeah. Are you sold on the big block Chevy now? Are your LS days done? I'm not going to say my LS days are done. I think that it serves a purpose. I think that for cheap, reliable power for fun projects and stuff, I will absolutely continue to use LSs. Because they're easy, they're cheap, they're readily available, that kind of stuff. But as far as racing goes, it's going to be hard to pull me away from a big block now. I'll say that. So many side roads. Yeah, there's been so many things that have happened off to the side and like little jobs here and there and different experiences and all kinds of shit that have led to where we're at now. Johnny Lightning makes the 405. Yeah, but here's the thing. If you call Johnny Lightning and tell them we want a Fool's Gold die cast, they're going to be like, who is Fool's Gold? I've never heard of this. So I don't think we're at that level. What kind of time, quarter mile time can the Nova do? It can't right now because of the gearing. It's 456. It'd run out of RPM. I know that I've previously gone low 10s on the street with the LS setup. With the big block and especially on spray, I mean, we should, eventually, I would think that we could probably get that Nova into the 580s on a little bit of spray, depending on how it works out and everything else on some decent streets and that kind of shit. And so 580s is the equivalent of an 8 something, I think, is the way that works out. I race at Cottonwood Dragway. I've been to Cottonwood for working for JJ. Pumpkin pie or sweet potato pie? Neither. I absolutely do not like sweet potatoes. I do not like pumpkin or pumpkin pie. So and by the way, when we did the live stream when I was on my way to Darlington and we got like those kinds of questions, I love those kinds of questions. Don't get me wrong, like obviously we want to talk about the car and this, that, and the other, but those like random off the wall, just kind of like, what kind of a person are you? Like, I love those kinds of questions. Would you ever come to Tucson? Absolutely. I'm going to test the skills at the pad first. Yeah, we do plan on going down to the pad at some point. How is this mentally on you? That's actually a really good question. So when doing these kinds of things, it's important to have good people around you. And what I mean by that is you need to have people of a certain mentality. Here's the thing. There is a reason why, there's a lot of reasons why, but another reason why, you know, Billy and Bill and I, and we all get along so well is because we understand what the goal is. We all know what our goals are and, you know, how we can help each other in goals and everything else. So it's important to be around those kind of people because you cannot, it's hard. It's hard to have a conversation with somebody who doesn't try to drag race for a living and YouTube for a living. Like, that's a pretty specific thing. So there's not a lot of people that you can have that conversation with. Mentally, it can definitely be quite trying at times. You know, I have a different life than other people that I know, and you know, other people that I'm associated with. I have a family. I have 2 small children that, you know, whose lives I want to be a part of. And but I also come from, you know, Mallory and I, when Mallory and I first started dating, it wasn't but a couple months into the relationship, I hopped up and left and went to Kuwait for 6 months. So, you know, then I worked as a firefighter. And if you know anything about firefighter schedules, there are 24 on, 48 off, or there was points where we were working 24 on, 24 off, you know, 48 on, 48 off, whatever. And so that kind of like separation, I've never worked, and I'm not going to say never, but it's been a very long time since I've worked a normal 9-to-5 job. So I'm kind of a little bit, I think a little bit differently anyway, and we're mentally more prepared for that. But it's important to have good people. So shout out Tom Binkley. He's another guy that I think is, you know, he's a local guy here and he's a good friend and he's one of those guys that I can call on. It's important to have people you can call on that, you know, number one, don't bullshit you, give you good advice, and those things are important. So, you know, there's a lot of stuff people don't see, and there's a lot of leaning on each other that, you know, that me and Bill lean on each other, me and Billy lean on each other, and there's a lot of stuff that we just kind of, a lot more private stuff that we keep in, and it's important. That's what I say about the mentality. It's not easy. It's not easy mentally, but have good people around. That's really, really important. Come to the pad when SRC comes again. I plan to. Any shitbox races in Pennsylvania? I'm not sure. I don't, but honestly, when I did the last shitbox race and then we started working on the Nova again, I was like, I want to take a couple months and just race my car. Don't get me wrong, I love throwing races. I think it's awesome, and especially the reaction we get out of people and how appreciative they are for those races. I plan to do more, but right now I'm being a little selfish. I want to focus on my own shit. Is pecan pie at Thanksgiving? No, I fuck with pecan year round. If you had to guess, how much horsepower does the 496 make? If I had to guess, motor, you know, how much does the motor make to the flywheel or the flex plate? 700-ish, something like that, I would guess. Rick Dudley at Fairfield Beach, I got you. Apple pie? Yeah, apple pie with ice cream is my jam. I would much rather do that. How did Billy's trip go at Chief's place? You guys will see that. He's doing a video on that. Hey Matt, what do I have to get some Fat Man size merch? I'm 3X to 4X. Everything that I do merch wise, we go small to 4X. So we currently have another large order for merch in that they're very quickly trying to turn around for us and get done. Also, here's like another thing about the mentality. Like a lot of this stuff, people don't realize too, what we're doing here is a business. And I very much look at things from that perspective. And we're having some issues right now in business growth. You know, we're selling more t-shirts than we ever have. You know, not that we're going crazy, but like, you know, whereas we used to maybe sell a couple t-shirts a month, maybe now we're selling a couple t-shirts a week, and some days a couple t-shirts in a day. So there's definitely some growing pains there in getting that stuff figured out. Kim K or Megan Fox? Megan Fox. Stupid question. Come on. Fuck a pineapple and a pizza. That message is held for review. We're approving that. Am I coming to San Diego? I don't have any plans on it, but maybe. Ooh, stuffed cabbage. Yeah, Frank, I'm gonna have to go. I love some good stuffed cabbage. Do you drink? If so, is it beer or whiskey? So no, I gave up. I gave up drinking, and nowadays, on rare occasion, I might have a sip or whatever. But when I was drinking whiskey and like a Seagram 7 and ginger ale, like whiskey and ginger ale was my jam, preferably Seagram 7. What do you plan to do the Nova next? Or are you going to Dig or Die? Yes. So right now the Nova is at Lucor. So at some point, I'm sure you guys will see another video there. The gear set is on the way. So we're going to go from a 456 to a 373, which hopefully should calm it down quite a bit. And they are going to do taller upper ball joints. They're going to do the bump steer kit, and they're going to replace the steering gearbox. Right before I left to come home, I went to Jags, bought a new manual box that isn't 40, 50, 60, whatever, however many years old. So we're going to do all that stuff and go from there. And I will also explain this to you guys, part of the reason we struggle, and you know, the answers are not so simple, because we are not racing on great surfaces. So it would be easier to figure stuff out if we were racing on good surfaces. But also now, because of the power of the big block, when you have that much more power than what the car used to have, now the car is going to show its ass. Now it's going to show you what's wrong and what isn't, you know, 100% right and all that kind of stuff. So how did you get to know the SRC crew? I did. I think I answered that. You have to go back to the other video or the beginning of this one. You are the average of your 5S friends. Surround yourself with people who are crushing it. Absolutely. Where were you fire at? I was a airfield firefighter at the Newcastle County Airport. Where would a guy find a rule set putting together a card or no preps on? There is none. The very best you can do is get on Facebook, look at all the events and look at all the rules and do your best. There is no governing body of no prep. Generally, there's a lot of things that are the same, but anybody who throws a no prep can make any rule they want, so it's hard to... Here's what I would tell you. Factory firewall, factory floor, factory frame rail, back half is usually okay, stock style suspension, 28. If you do those things, you'll be generally okay in most places. New Hampshire, New England Dragway. I will tell you, this is the kind of the way it works. For the most part, and here's the other thing you guys got to realize too. Yes, I spend a lot of time with SRC, but we are separate entities. It just so happens that, especially at this time of year, there is only so many races going on, so we try to go to them together. Also, we help each other a lot, so we try to be together as much as possible. But Billy kind of makes the decisions for where they go racing, and sometimes I veer off on my own and make my own decisions of where I go racing, and sometimes they're both, in line together. When are you putting a ring on Mal's finger? She has one. What gear ratio? Just ordered my 3X hoodie. Hell yeah. How do we order it? Shitboxsupply.com. So if you notice in the description of every video except the live videos, there's a link there that says, get your Jack Stam Mafia merch here. It's shitboxsupply.com. What do you like better, the front end or the back end? Back end all day. The back end is really a place where you can be more competitive with less. Generally speaking, front end of the track, even front end of the track, no preps, unless it is a really horrible surface, is usually a money wins game. Usually whoever's got the baddest car, the most expensive, baddest shit is going to win. So that's, that's why I prefer the back half. Because as you guys can see, when I went to Tennessee, I raced cars. Shit, Derek Bailey, that is a fucking crazy expensive, awesomely built, awesome car. And had I not been an asshole and swerving, I had to put him on the trailer round one. So I need to get the nose up on the Nova or the ass down. No, well, you're right. Yes, we do. We need to save some weight off the front of the Nova. That's going to be a future goal, is we need to get some weight off the front end of that. Oh man, let me scroll down here. Earl is going crazy right now with the motorhome maintenance. Yo, everybody shout out to my man Earl Moorhead right now, going wild with the super chats. Oh, okay, we're back down to recent. So, damn, I didn't get the notification. Blah, 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 blah. Saw the Air Force sticker. Did you serve? Yes. So actually, fun fact, the Air Force sticker on the motorhome is because the guy I bought it from was retired Air Force. I was in the Army for a few years, went to Iraq. If you guys have ever noticed this tattoo, OIF 0910. Deployed with the 41st Infantry out of Oregon, did convoy security for a year. I am what is considered a combat veteran of the Iraq War, and then I ended up going into the Air Force, went to Kuwait with them, which isn't a real deployment, so only military guys will understand that joke. Have you ever thought about making some Shitbox certified stickers since you're the Shitbox king? I have a lot of ideas for Shitbox. The problem is I am only one person, and this is where we talked about trying to move Shitbox to Ohio so we can get Kenny's woman to start working for us there. Right now, we're in a position where I really need to be taking stuff off of my plate to kind of help me focus more on what we have going on. The Fool's Gold now is not the same car it was 2 years ago, and it requires a lot more maintenance, input, staying on top of things, being on top of my A game. Obviously, if you guys have noticed, we've been putting out way more videos than I ever have. There's a lot going on, so I'm trying to take things off of my plate. Is Derek Bailey Dennis Bailey's brother? Yes. Do you have DNR license plates? No, we don't have DNR ones, but we do have Shitbox supply ones. How good is Miss Vicky's beef and noodles? Could you ask her to share the recipe, please? She does. She shares it in Messenger, and I meant to get her set up on a thing so she can like auto input it. We'll work on that. Have you ever raced at Bristol? I have not. When can we see your mom again? Oh Lord, I'm just gonna skip over that. You like Puerto Rican food? Fuck yeah, I like Puerto Rican food. Oh my God. So a little backstory. Guy who taught me a little bit about big blocks and that kind of stuff is my buddy Junior Pastrana. He has the Belly. The car's called the Belly. It's a 55 Bel Air. It runs the 850 index, usually every year at Yellow Bullet. And I pit crewed for him and learned a lot of stuff. And they're Puerto Ricans, and I fucking love Puerto Rican food. Like, he would bring his mom in from Puerto Rico and cook for us at the track. Oh my God. I actually wanted, fun fact for the day, a lot of people don't know this. I love to cook. I love to cook and I love food. I have kind of been quoted before as saying if I didn't have a racing YouTube channel, I'd probably have a cooking one. I wanted to do an episode series, like a video series. I had it all planned out too. We were going to call it the Trackside, where we went to different race, when we were at different racetracks, we did videos about the food that people serve at the racetracks, because some tracks have cool stuff, but generally speaking, if you make friends with people in the pits, like, you know, people are barbecuing, you know, Puerto Ricans are cooking up something good. Like, there's all kinds of different food and different ethnicities and all kinds of stuff that you can really, really get some good food. And I wanted to put that on video. I still haven't done that yet. Nasser turbo my Jeep. If you want to get it done quickly, nitrous. Put the nitrous on it. Lower the whole car for center of gravity. We can't lower the car anymore. It's actually an issue. Believe it or not, it doesn't look that low, but when you look at where the headers are and the oil pan, it is actually pretty close to the ground. Now at full extension, when I'm on it, it's fine, but we probably can't lower the car anymore. Have you ever drove the S10? No, I have not. Have I ever drove the S10? No, I haven't drove the S10. And other than just like moving it around, I haven't drove the Falcon. Like, I haven't made a hit in the Falcon or anything. That'll probably come. That's one of those things that we had an idea on. Like, Tommy was going to take me for a ride along in the Falcon because I did one in the truck years ago. So we were going to do that, and then we talked about possibly like doing a ride reaction video of me in the Falcon, and then switching seats and having Tommy ride shotgun and me drive the Falcon. How much are the Shitbox supply license plates? I think they're like 18 bucks, I think. What year is the Nova? 1974. Does the Nova have subframe connectors? Yes. So, like, you guys got to realize that this is another thing I wanted to address about the comments is, number one, because we've been doing so much work, all of it doesn't make it into the videos, and because this Nova has been around for a couple years, it's not as new. You know, I know a lot of subscribers and a lot of viewers are new. There's barely anything left of that Nova that hasn't been touched. You know, the front subframe is factory, but has subframe connectors, has split monos, has cow tracks, has an anti-roll bar, has upper and lower control arms, springs, shocks. I mean, so much of that car has been touched that we're kind of running out of things to replace. Best budget, no prep, street build, motor-wise, chassis-wise. Personally, I love an LS swap G-body. I think G-bodies work very well. You can get them to work very well, and obviously anything LS is going to be super budget and affordable. An LS will take the Dodger. We were spraying with 200 religiously and had no problem there. Can probably take 250, to be honest with you, and on pump gas. Like, I didn't put no special gas or anything in it. So that would be my personal recommendation. It really depends on what you want to do. Like, what are your goals? I think in today's day and age, you can get a G-body, LS swap it, and run 10s for probably under $5,000. Especially if you buy a G-body that was previously a race car that maybe already has some work done to it. You can always buy an old race car, a roller or something that somebody's bored with or whatever, and you will always come out ahead. Generally, you'll always come out ahead than trying to build it yourself and buy all those parts. You smoke butter and all? Hell yeah. What's your name on Facebook? Matt Rice. But I will tell you guys this. Number one, it's RYCE, not RICE. Number two, I am at my max capacity for friends. I cannot accept any friends requests on Facebook, so you can go on there and just, you can click follow and you can see all my stuff that way. I leave everything public. Also, DNR Auto is on Facebook, TikTok, Instagram, just about every social media outlet you can think of. If you look up DNR Auto, we are there. Matt, are you a hunter? No. Not something that I've ever really gotten into. I've been hunting twice in my life with friends. Is it something that I would like to do? Yeah. You know what I mean? I was in the military, so I enjoy, firearms and that kind of stuff. And I have a respect for, people going out and putting their own food on the table. But just It's not something that my family was into or anything like, so I've never had the opportunity. But given the opportunity, I would. Is your mom single? No. Do you run slicks or radials? Slicks. Anything backside, no prep, all that kind of stuff. The only time you'll ever see anybody go to a radial is if it's at a front side of the track, no prep, where the surface is pretty decent. What's been Billy doing with the 405? That'll be in a video. Will you come to Dayton in Ohio and take pictures of my board for myself? I cannot travel due to a handicap. I feel like I've been in Dayton before. Possibly. If it's something that I'm there, absolutely. Do you see yourself switching turbos in the future? I would love to. I think that as far as, here's the problem with that. I have a 496, which we don't know a ton about, but we do know that it is a 496 with 13-to-1 compression, a pretty serious dome on the piston. We never took the heads off, but the previous owner told me to index the plugs, gave me the washers, all that kind of shit. So I'm not sure that current setup is going to work the best under the pressure of turbos. We run 110. We don't, we're not using methanol or anything crazy like that. I think that eventually we might take it that far. The problem is ultimately going to be, if I continue down this path and continue where I'm going, I'm going to have to end up doing what Billy's doing and building another car to be competitive in front half of the track, no preps. And Fool's Gold is going to end up having to stay the back half car and street stuff and that kind of shit. So, I would love to see a turbo big block. I think it would be awesome. But right now, the nitrous meets our needs very well. And, Nitrous Express came on board as a sponsor. Don't get it twisted. I still pay for my Nitrous Express stuff, but they do help me out a little bit. So that is definitely appreciated. But, yeah, I wouldn't mind turbos. Fun fact, 1974 was the highest production for the Nova, approximately 390,000 units built. Yes, but I believe, because somebody just sent me a website to this the other day, I believe hatchback, a coupe hatchback custom, which is what mine is, there was only 38,000 produced in 74. Shout out for Nick's YouTube channel. Absolutely. If you guys don't know already, Nick Pluniak, Hustling Horsepower. Good dude. Going through some rough shit. Guy cannot catch a break. They're hustling to try to make something happen for Dig or Die. Definitely go show him some love. What do you think of a 70s Camaro with a big block Chevy as a starter car? If you have that, I think it's great. Like, if that's something that you have or that you can afford, fucking awesome. How did you come up with the name Brooklyn Dodger? So when we were building the Brooklyn Dodger, for those of you guys that don't know, we built that truck specifically for being on the television show Getaway Driver. They actually originally had cast me with the Nova, and then as more and more details about the show came out and what we were going to be doing and kind of a little bit more specifics, I was like, there is no way in hell I'm bringing the Nova to that. That's my baby, and I'm not destroying it. So we built the Dodger specifically as a vehicle that could be destroyed and we would not care about. Like, not that we wouldn't care, but if it came back as a crumpled up tin can, we knew that going into it. That's why it's on an extended S10 chassis. It's why we'd never planned on drag racing it and that kind of shit. It just survived, so I ended up doing it for the hell of it. But the way we came up with the name of the Brooklyn Dodger is we were talking about it, and it is a 1955 Dodge, and we were kind of thinking of names, and the Dodge, so we were like Dodger, and we're dodging the cops on the Getaway Driver, and I think it was in 1957, 58. Somebody will probably correct me on that, but 58, Brooklyn the Dodgers used to be in Brooklyn. It used to be the Brooklyn Dodgers, and then they moved to Los Angeles. So because it was a 55 and it fell into that time frame, and it was a Dodge, and we were dodging the police and everything, that's how the name kind of came to be. Bump steer kit? No, it's the Nova is at Lucor right now, getting bump steer, getting taller ball joints, a new steering box, and possibly the 373 gear if it gets in time. Matt, do you like fishing? Yes, I do like fishing. The I don't know. I don't know what's going on in the comments here. I do like fishing. I enjoy bass fishing. Obviously, I live on the East Coast. We do some ocean fishing, catch sharks, that kind of shit right off the coast. So it is something I enjoy that I haven't gotten to do in years. Every once in a while, I try to take the girls fishing. Um, are you worried about Billy bringing back trap music from Oklahoma? I saw another question about music. I will tell. Oh, what kind of music is your go-to? So I listen to everything, like just about everything. I have the most eclectic collection of music whatsoever. A couple of my go-tos: hardcore rap, obviously, old school and new school, and you know, I am 31 years old. I grew up in the emo phase. I play guitar, or I can play guitar. I haven't played guitar in I don't even know how long. So rock music, emo music, you know, obviously you've seen I've got, you know, the 80s baby making music. If you guys have seen that in the SRC video, like I listen to all kinds of stuff. But generally speaking, I will put on like some crazy screaming double bass drum kind of stuff. That helps me get work done, and I will also edit videos that way. It kind of, people are kind of confused because they're like, how can you work like this? There's so much shit in my brain that when I put that music on, it kind of just muffles all the shit in my brain out and allows me to focus on what I'm doing. So what's your EDC? I don't know what EDC, like education. Did you find a hood of your own for Fool's Gold? Yes, we did. That's all I'm gonna say about that. Have you thought about factory steel or frame connector, put a lighter one to reduce? Yes, I would love to do a front subframe. They are just very expensive and a lot of work. So right now, it's not in the cards. We don't have enough. There's only a few races left this year before we could do something major, before we would have enough time to do a major change like that. Are you first generation or second generation Polish? I guess the answer to that would be first. I was born in Poland. I didn't move to America until I was about 4 years old. So I guess that would make me first generation. Let's see. Do you think a radial would have been better at Darlington because of the surface? Absolutely not. That surface, Darlington surface, is the worst surface we will ever race on, probably ever. Like, the next worst thing you could do is probably try to send it down a dirt road. So it's here, and I'll explain this about Darlington, and I'll explain kind of what's going on with the Nova. So with the big block, obviously it makes a lot of power. It makes more power than the car ever has. You know, it makes more power on motor than it used to make when I was spraying it with the LS. We do different things in the tuning aspects and all of that to try to get it to go down those types of surfaces. So obviously one of the things that we do is, you know, remove timing. We try to back down the power. So initially the car was set up with 42 degrees of timing, and it is now down to 38 degrees of timing overall. So it's a flat curve. It's just 38 degrees. The MSD box does a start retard where the first time I start it up, it'll pull 10 degrees for a certain amount of time to make it easier to start, all that kind of shit. And then we have programmed in a launch retard. So what happens is when I let go of the trans brake button, it pulls timing over a set amount of time, right? Now, we've backed it down to 38 degrees, and currently I have 10 degrees of timing over 2.5 seconds. 2.5 is the maximum that software will allow. And The 10 degrees brings us back down to 28. There may be 12 degrees and we're at 26, whatever. It's somewhere around there, right? The issue with that is there is a point, and this happened at Darlington, and I heard it. I forget who it was, but I was physically standing there, and you can hear it. Somebody had taken so much timing out of the car that when they let go of the trans brake button, it just bogs down, and it's just all the way. And this was like a turbo car, and it takes a lot to recover from that. So because this setup is so new to me, I don't know what that point is. I don't know how far back I can take the timing before it bogs down and doesn't want to run. So we're playing a dangerous game here because I want to take more power out of it to get down the surface, but I also know if I take it too far, it's just going to bog down and I'm just screwed. So, you know, that's essentially how we do that. And that's how we try to get down that type of surface. And we use launch retard in all sorts of scenarios and all sorts of things. But that explains where the Nova's at and why it's kind of struggling. Can you give me a small rundown on the motor? Casey, I would love to. The problem is we don't know. Daniel, gentleman down in Georgia, had offered me up the motor. It was his. He had gotten it in a car that he had traded for like 10 years ago, and he never opened it up. So we don't know what cam's in it. We don't, you know, we know what heads are on it. Obviously, I think it's like a factory GM 454, bored and stroked. It's got Dart Pro 1 heads. No idea what the cam. No idea what the crank is. No idea what a lot of stuff is. He said it's 13-to-1 compression. He said he has hit ground straps before, so make sure I index them. So we're kind of going into it blind. Thank you for blocking idiots. I don't know that I am. Maybe Mallory is. I seen that nitrous controller. Have you gotten to use it with the ramp yet? So the way the car is currently set up is the Nitrous Express, the Maximizer 5, it's all wired into the button on the steering wheel. And I have the ramp set up on the button on the steering wheel. So when I hit the button, it automatically pulls timing. It's wired back into the MSD box and it pulls timing. And it's currently set up on a ramp that starts at 30%, ends at 100%. Over a second and a half, I think is what it is, set up right now. And that is purely done just so when I am out and we're in motion, I'm not just hitting it with a 200 shot and shocking that tire. You know, we're trying, honestly, I could probably do less ramp. I mean, it depends on the surface, but what I'm attempting to do there is not shock the tire and throw it into a spin. I want it to, you know, gradually take that nitrous and take it in. Let's see. How does everyone stay away from the cops? I'll make it seem easy. Go watch my old videos. We don't. It's part of what we do, and we interact with them. Here's what I will tell you. Generally, the people that I go racing with, and you know, certain people across the country, generally people who go street racing and are at a certain level, do not. They are not idiots. You know what I mean? You know, as you can see in my car, I've got safety gear. We have that. You know, we go to places where we try not to be around, you know, people, you know, not in super high traffic areas, all that kind of stuff. And the honest to God's truth a lot of times too is when the cops show up, we're respectful. Here's the thing. I know what we are doing is wrong. I know what we are doing is dangerous. If a cop comes out there, if they are forced to do their job, they will do it. If you treat them with respect and understanding and, you know, are just a decent individual, a lot of times they are decent individuals and they understand and they say, hey, get your shit and get out of here. And I don't want to see you again tonight. So we put it on the trailer and we get the hell out of there. That's really what a lot of it is just knowing how to deal with people. Florida getting cold. Oh man, it's getting late. It's like close to midnight, but there's close to 1,000 people. Do you get into RC cars with Bill? I have not. RC cars, I have not gotten into that yet. I've never even driven one of those things. Like, so is something that I will get into. I don't know. It's not something that's jumping out at me. That's piquing my interest right now. I can tell you, a lot of times, obviously right now, I'm thinking about what are we going to do for content through the winter, through the months where it's cold. We're not going to be racing heavily. Um, I have thought about buying a Bronco the other day just because I thought it'd be a cool little project, and it was very reasonably priced and clean. Like I'm a sucker for a good deal. It was obviously so nice and clean and everything else that uh, it was sold before I got a chance to get to it. But I know we want to work on the El Camino, all that other stuff. What's up, Kyle Fisher? Gucci Mane or Jeezy? Jeezy. A day to remember, absolutely. Bu- bu- bu. Let's see. I don't know how we're still talking about music in the comments. So, how can I get up with you? I want to get you to come to the track I run, Page Lane Dragway. It's not far from Darlington. Chad, the best answer would be send me a message on Facebook. Would probably be the best answer. Um, did I buy the property next to the Hoskinsons? No. You need to speak Polish in Chicago, but blah, 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 blah. Biggest Polish hood. Yeah, Cześć, jestem Mateusz. I'll give you that. That's about the only thing I know. Is there better software to allow for longer retard ramps or more abilities in general? Absolutely. Um, it can get very, very complex, but I haven't. I will speak on what I've been inside of. I've been inside of Holly software. I've been inside MSD. I have not been inside Fuel Tech or Haltech or any of those kinds of things. I can tell you that the amount of stuff you can do in a Holly system versus the amount of stuff you can do in an MSD, or at least the MSDs that I've been in or have, is night and day. If I wanted to, like, I've got a Holly Terminator X in the Dodger, and I could set a launch retard for the whole 6 seconds if I wanted to, because I can custom plot those points myself. So yes, there is differences in the technology, and then whereas like the Falcon, if you guys watched any of that video, um, the the advanced tables, you can create your own table to make it do whatever you want based on whatever input and output you want. So there's a lot of shit you can do there. Can you give us a quick walkthrough? I would love to, but the problem is I've got the GoPro set up, and the last time I tried to move it, the battery fell out and it cut the live stream out. So where we are at is we're at DNS Fabricators in Delaware. These are the guys that helped me build the Dodger, and they got this new shop. I don't know how many months ago, but when they got it, they asked me to move in with them, just to kind of help out for a little bit. I did that. We are now at the point where their business is expanding rapidly, and I'm going to be moving out because they need the space. Because if you guys saw the other half of the shop that I was at, that's still the landlord's. That's their half of the shop. So they only have this half. So the space that I was taking, I am now moving out of, and that's going to help them in their business. Oh, man. Hire security to watch for you. We do. We do have. Everyday carry knife. I don't. I don't carry a knife. Or a firearm. Um, there's reasons for that. Like talk about street racing. We're already doing something stupid. The last thing I want to do is do something stupid and have weapons on me. Oh my goodness. Why does the old man call you cousin Eddie? I have no fucking clue. I think it's because I bought the RV. So when I pulled up to the house in the RV one day, it just like clicked in his mind, like Christmas vacation, like cousin Eddie coming to town. Because I bought a what? It's a 2000, so it's a 21-year-old RV. It's definitely not anything new, but it's what I could afford. Um, so I think it's because of the RV. How did you race that car with a messed up steering box? So here's the thing. If the car does what it's supposed to do, if it leaves the line and goes straight, and this is, like I said, I'm gonna make a video about like kind of the history of the Nova and like different street races and everything. Um, if it does what it's supposed to do from the start, it's not as bad, but there's still a lot of steering input. If it doesn't do what it's supposed to do from the line, it's just pretty much fucked. Is really the best I can say. So the thing is it's always been that way. The steering has always been that car has always had problems, and I've continuously over the years fixed problems. So it's not the first time the car's been sideways. It's not the first time the car has launched and gone left. And um, you know, the question of should I be driving it knowing that things are wrong? I don't know. Personally, it just is what it is. I think that you know I hate to say it this way, but having those shitty experiences is going to make me a better driver in the long run, because I would rather have those shitty experiences when I'm going slower than have them when I'm going faster and then not know what to do because I've never experienced it. Australian house. Can you adapt the Holly from the Dodger to the Nova? Possibly. It's a Terminator X kit, so it's meant for LS and all that. And uh, you know, I could, but I'd probably have to get a new Holly. I'd be better off getting a different Holly kit, which they're expensive. Then I would have to go fuel injected. There's a whole lot more to it. Um, oh my goodness. 950 people. Like, you guys realize, like, I gotta go to the bathroom. Like, I don't even know what to do here. Like, I gotta pee, and I've been live for over an hour. Um, do you still have the Nova bench seat out of the Nova? Would you sell it? I don't know. I don't know if it still exists. It may have gotten thrown away. I'm not gonna lie. Did you design the Shitbox products or just a retailer for them? I will give you guys the rundown of how Shitbox Supply got started, because I'm very upfront and open and honest about this and how it all worked out. I was looking for parts to probably for that Mustang, and that I had had years ago, and I was looking at lines and fittings and all that kind of stuff, and it kind of frustrated me because I saw that a lot of major brands that I won't name, but you guys can go ahead and do the research or just literally walk to any of their bags and look at the back of them. A lot of major brands are made in China. Now, I have some experience with products made in China, and I have other friends that have, experience and involved in industry and stuff. And there's definitely there is a difference. Okay, so the way that I like to word this is there's good China and there's bad China. There is bottom of the barrel. Let's make this the cheapest way we possibly can and get it out the door. And believe it or not, a whole lot of automotive products, not just lines and fittings, but a whole lot of automotive products are made in China. And there's quality control and there's, stuff going on there. So I went to PRI and I ended up, uh, you know, inadvertently meeting a manufacturer, and I worked with them. I got samples. I tested samples against different known manufacturers, like quality brands, as far as cutting them open, pin diameters, weight, all kinds of shit. And I found a product that I felt had good quality control and was a good product. So they make it in China for Shipbox Supply. They're AN lines and fittings. Like, there's not something that you can design. Like, the AN AN fittings are actually stand for Army Navy. That's a whole other story. So it's not like you're innovating something. It is just you know, it would be like saying, let me get a 3/8 bolt. Like, you can't reinvent the wheel. 3/8 bolt's a 3/8 bolt. A 6AN is a 6AN. It's, you know, whatever. But the I'm getting texts, go pee and come back. So it's manufactured in China. I import it. It's made for me, and then it is quality controlled there. And also, fun fact, before it ever leaves us to get to you, it is quality controlled again. Mallory, at this point in time, Mallory does most of the shipping and packaging and all of that, and she will check every individual fitting before it leaves. We have a pretty low failure rate, or I wouldn't even say failure, like, we won't send it out the door if there's like a noticeable blemish on it, because we just don't want to take the chance of it having to come back under warranty, because we offer a shit happens, no leak guarantee, which is pretty much means shit happens. You know, shit happens. If you need a fucking new one, we'll replace it. So we quality control it very well, and that's how Shitbox happens. And I see, how did Lucor miss that steering box? I'm gonna go pee and get right back to that question. I'm coming back. I'm coming back. How many people dropped off? We actually have more people after I went to pee than now. So here's the deal. When I brought the car to Lucor, and because of the way that things work right now and the way that things are going, everything is in a rush. Everything is, drop it off, get it done as fast as you possibly can, and get it back to me, because we have to go racing. We have to go get shit done. So I'm not saying, you know, it's not a thing of like they missed it. It's they did a bunch of work that made dramatic improvement to what was already there. But we didn't have the time to redo everything all at once. So that's just shit that happens. Why not convert to a rack and manual to save weight? Tony, this is the same answer for a lot of the questions of a lot of the comments and a lot of the, why don't you just do this? You know, I see it like, people are like, oh, the answer is just do this, this, and this. Honestly, it's money. I don't, you know, my channel on YouTube is doing the best it ever has. I am incredibly thankful for that. But we are still not in a position where I can just throw all the money I want into the car. I would love to, but we're just not there. Oh, all right, let's see how far down we are. Oh my God, everybody's talking about peeing. I think it's actually raining right now, so I think there is water. I'm pissing a bottle. You guys are crazy. Not that I've never done that before. Did you have to change your underwear after you spun out like that? No. So if you guys watch the video, and, you know, here's something else I want to address, because this is something that came up and was commented, and comments were made, and blah blah blah, and some fucking asshole who probably shouldn't even bother me and everything else anyway, but some guy wanted to get on a high horse and like, oh, does Matt think he's cool that he almost crashed his car but he didn't, and blah blah blah. Here's the deal, right? Because of what we do here with the YouTube channel, with everything else, the fact of the matter is that no matter what I do, it is going to be in videos. I'm going to races where there's multiple videographers, there's everything. And no matter what I do, it is going to get captured on film and is going to be put out to the public. So, with that being said, I've got one of two choices. I can either be completely negative about it and just like fucking brush it off, pretend like it never happened, everything else, or I can be positive about it and accept the fact that, that this did happen. I am, I will say, I am proud of myself and the way that I handled that situation, you know. But I also watched the video 17,000 times. I watched the in-car, and I thought about, okay, well, next time maybe this or that. Kyle, it's funny, Kyle Fisher actually said something. I sent him the video, and he's like, "What is this hero shit? You get back into it, blah blah blah." Because I did pedal it again, and what I was trying to accomplish there is that sometimes when you're in that squirrely situation, if you can blip the throttle when you're going kind of straight, and if the tires grip at all, it can kind of straighten you out. Now, I've slid the Dodger around. I've done all kinds of other shit that has helped me with more experience. Plus, not the first time that the Nova has been sideways, believe it or not. So, I am kind of proud in the way that I handled it. I think that anybody who watched that video, I saw a lot of those comments like, bro, you didn't even it looked like it didn't even phase you. Well, also when you watch the in-car video, it looks a lot more calm than it looked from the outside. So, but that just comes from, I've been in that position before. I had an understanding of what the car was doing. And, did I make mistakes? Absolutely, 110% I made mistakes. Did I make enough mistakes and bad enough mistakes that it ended up in a wall or ended up ruining the car? No. But that's the thing. And, at the end of the day, this is real shit. And I don't ever want to be the guy to hide things from people. You know what I mean? This is how it really happened, and this is it. And like I said before, you're never going to get that experience unless you get the experience. Why are you, people, well, why are you wasting money going to races and blah, blah, blah? Well, because I'm never going to get the experience of racing at Darlington till I go race at Darlington. And I got the experience, and now I know, hey, you really missed the tune-up. You really missed a lot of shit. You got to figure it out. The only way I'm going to get better is by continuously doing that. Matt, can you send gear to Australia yet? No. We've been working on that. Right now, we are in the middle of trying to move all of Shitbox to Ohio, which created some website issues for us. And we thought we had international shipping figured out, and I'm not sure that we're there yet. It is coming, but there's a lot. Are you going to race the car back in Delaware? So we only have one track in Delaware, and that is US 13 Dragway. And apparently, allegedly, I saw this announcement, next year it will be under new management. Old management had zero interest in no prep. I talked to them personally. They said they would never do it again. If there's something where they decide to bring no prep back to go race, that I will ever go back to a prepped grudge event. I absolutely despise them. Generally, they're all the same. You go there, you spend a shit ton of money, and you maybe get to make 2 passes, and you're there all day. And I just don't like that. So here's the fucking hero. Yeah, Kyle's watching. Here's the thing. What you guys don't understand is, as much as I would like to just block haters and block these people with negative comments and everything, there's a flip side to this. Flip side is, I am a firm believer in the amendments, the Constitution of the United States and people's amendments and rights to have free speech. Hello. I fought for those things. So I am a very firm believer that just because I do not have the same opinion as you does not make your opinion any less valid. Or, I'm not one of those guys that is like, oh, well, you have a different opinion than me, so I'm going to hate you. I'm one of those guys that you have a different opinion than me, so let's talk about it and let's see if we can find a common ground, or or maybe we can't, or whatever. So there's that part of it. There's also the part of it that is just purely, if they're in the comments, it means they're watching the videos, and ultimately these people that are hating on me and wishing that I do bad are actually helping me do better by increasing my view count. So they're ultimately the loser in that. Bill, go hang with your family. Absolutely, I will. I will tell you guys, there's been a change of plans. I was planning on doing something this weekend with some content and everything else, and that doesn't look like it's going to work out, which means I'm actually going to spend more time at home. I will make a Nova video that I've been talking about making this video, but the other things that I wanted to do may not happen, so we're kind of trading off. The kids are in bed. Mallory's watching this with us, and I'm going to spend more time with my family, and it'll all work out. Where's the Dodger? It's somewhere around here. My hood. Alberta, Canada. What's up? What's up? Oh, and also the other thing I forgot to mention about Lucor, like how everything was in a rush. I don't think they ever even drove the car. Like, they told me that road outside their shop is so crowded that they won't, like, they take it somewhere else, and I don't think they had time to even test drive it. Matt, did you see that Nick said thank you for being there for him? No, I didn't, but that was a shitty situation, and I love Nick, and I think I can say this because it just is factual and people are not stupid. Obviously there's been some, Nick and Maddie haven't been around, with the SRC crew and me and, whatever. There's some other shit there, but Nick is always my boy, and I love that guy to death. And I'm glad to see that internally we're working on our own stuff there. Joliet. Have you ever been to US 43? I have not. I unsubscribed from SRC Garage, but do with racing. I don't think that's the case. We have a very clear. I don't know if people. This is not something we generally talk about, but we have a very clear understanding of the way that things work, and the way we all kind of fit into those things. SRC is the main channel, and SRC. If you notice, I went to Crossville and I didn't put out a video of every single race of Crossville. That's SRC stuff. I put in my stuff, and there's some sections that kind of cross between both, but generally speaking, SRC is where you're gonna get all of the best full racing footage and coverage from. Does your fitting have 8 ORB to 10 AN male flare? Yes, we have ORB stuff. We do not have PTFE stuff. What kind of smokes do you smoke? Marlboro Menthol Light, since I was fucking 15 years old. It's a terrible habit. If you're watching this and you don't smoke, please don't ever pick it up. It's a bad idea. It's one of the, well, I'm not going to say few, but I think one of the few bad habits I have left. Would like to see your Nova versus LSX Matt Nova's Nova on the street. I know LSX Matt. He's a friend. If we ever did line it up, it wouldn't be like some fucking $1,000 grudge race or anything. It would be purely friends. I wouldn't mind racing him. Yes, we will go up to a 250 shot in the Nova. That will happen. You guys ever try a Maryland track? I live Mason-Dixon. So here's the thing. Where I live in the Northeast, we do not have a lot of good no prep action. And I know some asshole in the comments and be like, yeah, but what about such and such place and blah, blah, blah. Here's the thing. When we go other places, when I go somewhere in Ohio, The people are very welcoming. They are very friendly. They are very open. I can call up. I don't even know how many tracks at this point across the country that I could call up at any given moment, and they would say, "Come on down here and do whatever you want." And I don't mean like private tech. Like if I wanted to throw an event, whatever. I do not have that kind of support in my local area, so it makes it very hard, for me to want to go to a bunch of these places. On top of the fact that a lot of them just don't have, good no prep racing. So, yeah, it sucks that the drive is farther, but I would much rather go farther away and be welcomed with open arms than stay close to home, do a style of racing, like prepped grudge racing is very big in my area, and it's just not what I'm into. So I just go where it is. How did it feel to win that first race in the second chance after getting the Nova done? Psh, I think the video explains that all. It felt incredible. Rusty, why do some people involve politics? So I don't know what's going on with politics stuff. If you guys notice, I am not a political guy. I have my own opinions. I have my own beliefs. There's a whole lot of all of that, but it is not something. Generally, nothing good comes from it. To be honest with you, nothing good comes from talking about politics. It usually starts arguments. It usually makes people unhappy. I'm not that kind of guy. I got my own opinions. I just. Look, I used to be you can ask Mallory, I used to be a very different kind of person years ago. And fun fact for the day, I was an amateur MMA fighter as well. But I used to be a very different kind of person. So nowadays, I just really try to keep things on a positive note. I don't try to start trouble where there doesn't need to be. I absolutely will call out somebody for being an asshole. I absolutely will. SRC Garage in the house. But I don't, you know what I mean? I'm just not, that's not my personal thing. Dude, what's your favorite joke? Shit. What is my favorite joke? I don't know, but somebody asked me the other day, favorite comedian, and I would have to say Dave Chappelle, I think, is probably one of my favorite comedians. What's my favorite joke? Oh, damn, that's a good one on the spot. I don't know one yet. I don't know. Nick has a very serious health problem. Yes. So a lot of people don't know this. Well, I think a lot of people know Nick does have a serious health problem. He's got intestinal problems. It is something that I have previously and somewhat to this day kind of suffer with. Mine are nowhere near as bad as his. But that's also part of why I use cannabis. So but yeah, Nick has got some health problems. Bill Ellis, you are amazing. I don't know how you got that little dancing dude in there, but that's awesome. Any chance of convincing Mallory into a 6-liter LS for the El Camino? No, especially now that we got the 383, which is actually 385 short block. There's no way in hell. And I want to make that car fun for her. If you guys noticed when we did the Malibu video of like me and Billy putting the exhaust on, that car is a lot of fun. And I want her to have that same kind of fun. So I want to put in a motor that's got a little bit of rumble to it, that when she stomps the gas, it's going to break the tires loose, but she can get in and drive all the time. And I think we've got a really good setup for that. William, thank you very much. Yep, practice, be patient. Exactly. That's exactly it. What do you think about back of the track at Crossville? I like it. I think that it's not the worst surface ever. It is not a fantastic surface by any means. I think that given the opportunity to race there more, I could figure it out a little bit better. I know that some guys were going really pretty fast there. I enjoy it. Fun fact, so I used to, well, I still do, but like the contract work for Hot Shots, like all this past year, once a month I would travel to diesel races and film and photograph diesel races, and Crossville was one of the tracks that we would go to. So I'd been familiar with Crossville. The facility is beautiful. I love that place. but we never, raced it backwards. That was all front half of the track stuff. So I like that. Sketchy 2SS, thank you for the live feed. Thank you guys for tuning in. It's after midnight on Thanksgiving, and I didn't realize you like that carburetor life. That carburetor life is something else. I think that it's also important that I have it and start learning it, because it'll make me more versatile in the future. I'll get hit in the head with a dick. Oh, man. What carb are you running on the Nova? So we are running a 1050 carb on it. I'm back. Can't believe you're still live. I can't either. So this is like the shitty situation I get put in. I go live for a little bit. I legitimately plan to do like an hour. I was like, well, I'll go live for an hour. And then an hour goes by and there's 900 people watching. And I'm like, well, now I don't want to disappoint you guys and get off. But we do have a lot of good questions going too. A flame about 3 feet high. Shout out to Rocky Top Diesel Shootout at Crossville. Yep, so I just talked about that. Is that your shop? No, this is not my shop. How's that nitrous going? I don't know. I haven't had a good opportunity to use it yet. Let's play a game called What Hasn't Matt Done? Seriously, because Mallory knows. So if you guys ever want to play the game of What Hasn't Matt Done? Man, I have done a lot of shit, just even in the last few years, but there's throughout my life. There's so much stuff. Like, I'll share some tidbits from the childhood. When I was a child, I don't know, 7-ish years old, I used to live in an apartment complex. My mom made chocolate lollipops. So she melted chocolate down, put them into molds, and had stick on them. I used to go door to door of the apartment complex and sell chocolate lollipops. I have been involved in sales since I was a kid. Been a nice Thanksgiving, guys. Thank you all for asking and watching. Yes, Bill, I was going to ask you, I was going to call you, I was planning to after this live. Are Dig Dogs making a comeback? Drag or Die TV. Great question. What I want to do and have been talking about doing for a while, but I have not been able to make happen yet. For those of you guys that don't know, Dig Dogs are the hot dogs that I used to sell at racetracks for gas money. What I wanted to do was bring Dig Dogs back at the booth, but for free. Like, just as a way to say thank you to everybody for all the support over the years and anybody who's ever bought a Dig Dog and everything. One day I will figure out how to make that work where we have enough helping hands, everything is not so busy, and I can set up the hot dog stand so I can give away Dig Dogs. It's something I'd really like to do. I spoke to you at the diesel race at Crossfire a couple years ago. Yeah, I've been doing the hot shots thing for a couple of years ago. How are you fitting the 10.5 under the Nova? I know they can be tricky. I use a 15 by 8 wheel with a 5.5 backspace, but the rear that I have has been shortened, so we use a spacer. Shocks are relocated to the inside, and we pounded the shit out of the inner fenders and outer fenders, and it somehow by magic fits in there. And ever since Lucor messed with the rear, they fit a lot better than they ever have. Do you ever go to Ocean City Cruise Week? I used to. I've been there before. It's changed a lot over the last couple of years. The cops down there is really, the cop situation is really bad down there now. So, man, I'm new to the channel. Where's your home state? Delaware. We were just waking up for our turkey ODs. Any advice for somebody who's wanting to get started in drag racing? Tommy, the best advice I can possibly give you is do not overbuild the car. And what I mean by that is get whatever project you have, whatever, running and driving the quickest way possible Get to that running and driving point the quickest way possible and go race it and go enjoy it. There's a couple reasons why. Number one, you will find that things you thought you will break, you might not break. Case in point, factory S10 rear in the Dodger. It is a factory S10 rear with a 308 gear and a $40 eBay mini spool, and people said, you're going to break that thing, you're going to break that thing, you're going to break that thing. We still haven't broken it yet, and we got it to go 698 down at Edgewater, and to the 8th, and I think that's a pretty respectable time for what hunk of junk that thing is. But had I worried about it, I would have done the rear, and it would have meant less racing, and it would have been that the trans actually screwed up, and I wouldn't have had the money to do the trans because I had done the rear that I didn't need to do. Get to racing as quickly as possible. Go racing, enjoy it, fix things as they break, upgrade things as they break, and it's also going to teach you a lot about the car itself. And you're going to learn that car, and it's easier to learn things when you're going slower than it is when you're trying to go faster. And it's also going to keep you from having a car on jack stands for 2 years that you keep dumping money into and never get to drive. That'd be my best advice. Still a VS dealer? Yes. Are you going to sell Fool's Gold hot dogs at the track? No, but I will tell you guys this. I didn't make an announcement yet because I don't know when they're going to be here, and I didn't want people thinking that they would be able to get them and be able to have them in hand in time for Christmas. That might still be a possibility, but I don't know that it is. But I will tell you, we do have Shitbox Supply Fool's Gold Special Edition gold wrenches coming soon. That's a little tidbit of information that you guys get for watching the live stream. So did anybody ever win your caption thing you did with the picture? I didn't do that. That was Tommy that did that. I just shared it, so I'd have to ask him. Dig or Die is going to be a blast. Yes. Ballpark, all beef. No. Drag or Die, you are fucking wrong. Do not come near me with a ballpark. The best hot dogs are usually kosher. Usually if it's kosher, it's good. Is Dig Dog Polish sausage? No. Thought about trying to do a few bracket races. Mike, that's not a bad idea at all. I personally do not enjoy bracket racing. I have tried it, or I've tried index racing, which is kind of the same thing. It's not something that I personally enjoy, but it's also not what I was raised in either. Like, I didn't start out bracket racing. I started out grudge racing, and but for something to get your feet wet, absolutely. And we'll probably teach you a lot about the car too, because you're going to be dialing in times and stuff. Bill must be doing his video. Yeah, this is about Bill's editing time right now. Where do I go to purchase a Shitbox hoodie? Shitboxsupply.com. Brakes are for quitters. Detroit in the house. Oh man, still 900 people on this damn live stream right now, and we've been live for almost 2 hours. We're gonna have to cut this off. I gotta go to bed at some point, man. Y'all are killing me. I only got so much Mountain Dew left. Goodness. Oscar Mayer, no Oscar Mayer. I don't think Oscar Mayer's are koshers. Out, gotta work. Absolutely. Hot dogs are terrible for you. I think you come up better, something better, especially the kids. I don't know why you hate hot dogs. Matt Wire, Delaware tags so small. Is it because there are not that many people? Love the fact they are black. So that's actually a misconception. Delaware has this weird thing. It's like part of Delaware's history, but I forget what the numbers are. But if you're like 65,000 or less, you can get a black tag. And the actual old black tags were smaller, and they weren't metal. They were made out of something else. They were like a porcelain or something. So like it's like a status symbol thing in Delaware. Like if your tag number is 100, like you're a rich guy and you're an important guy in Delaware because your tag number is so low. Um, is AN fittings all you sell? So we do AN line and fittings. We also have fuel filters. We've got some other parts. We are also dealers for other companies that I try to bring on the website. We have some Snake Eater Performance, Shitbox Supply, crossover special edition injectors, fuel injectors that are coming. So that's that. Dodger planes. I don't have any. I was half tempted this weekend to throw the dirt track tires back on it and just go tear shit up just to go blow off steam and have some fun. But I've got no Dodger plans right now. All of my focus is on the Nova. And then after that, Mallory's El Camino. So the Dodger's kind of on the back burner right now. New York hot dogs, Nathan's. Yep, New York hot dogs are the best. Haven't seen you with a monster in some time. Good fucking notice, Dave K. I gave up monsters. Yeah. So as I'm getting older and you know what I mean? And I'm caring about different parts of my body and this, that, and the other and everything else. I noticed that I was having some weird side effects from the monsters, or at least I tracked it down to what I believed were the monsters. So I ended up stopped drinking monsters. I stopped drinking energy drinks altogether. So no like Red Bull, no nothing like that. I will do coffee. I still drink soda or pop, as you guys call it. But yeah, I gave up monsters. Eventually, I will give up smoking. Getting older sucks. All you do is give shit up. You guys have inspired me to race again. 60 retiring to race. Hell yeah. Keep it real, Shaggy. You're finally moving in the right direction. That's weird. Gary, did you call me Shaggy for a reason? Because if you know that, that is some information that I'm surprised you know. Yeah, the more money you'll spend on it, yeah. Is it worth getting a Shafroth motor? Looking at one right now. I know Billy had a Shafroth motor for a while. Shitbox Lance works at Shafroth. I personally don't have any experience with them. What's the website name? Shitboxsupply.com. Monster's unhealthy. Yeah, it is. Everything that is, everything that you want. No Rippets. That was a show on deployments. Yeah. So unfortunately, honestly, I haven't tried a Rippet since I've given up Monster. Maybe I could try one, but I can tell you, I will know within the first 3 sips. What it was is it was actually, it was doing this weird thing where something in those energy drinks was like making my head like cloudy and foggy. I couldn't quite figure it out, but I figured out that when I stopped drinking the monsters, I stopped getting that feeling. So we do not carry 5 and 6X. We go up to 4X on everything, small to 4X. Matt, the only way I quit 3 packs a day was a Juul, but it's more money. I did for a while there. Mallory probably remembers this. I did go over to vaping, which was actually cheaper. Like I had the whole vape set up, and it helped me quit smoking. I cannot do. I tried, whatever the prescription is or whatever for the quitting smoking. I tried those. I cannot do those. Those have a horrible effect on me. So BES is great, but that's good people at Shafroth. Yep. Any Black Friday sales? We do have a Black Friday special on Dodger stuff right now, where we are putting together boxes. So you get 2 T-shirts, a hat, a flag, a sticker, the baseball card set. You get a bunch of stuff, and it's discounted. Um, Hebrew National, yep, Hebrew Nationals are good. Nathan's and Hebrew National, two good ones. I might race that Nova again. I'm in no rush. Oh, Bill. Oh, well, you already know this. Bill, we got the other hood, so you get your hood back. Um, Rob's going to come over tomorrow, and JB said that the rails and fasteners and stuff should have been with that hood and trunk. I don't know if it is or isn't. If it's not, I'm giving Rob money to go to Jegs to get the stuff I need, but you're getting your hood back soon. Some are allergic to caffeine or have sensitivity. It's not a caffeine. It's something else that's in those. It's like the guarana or the taurine or whatever. One of those other ingredients is what was doing it to me. Because I can drink coffee and that's fine. I've tried patches the gum. It didn't work well with me either. Yeah, the problem was with that prescription pill. It gave me nightmares, and that's a whole other part of my life that we're not even going to talk about. But Chantix, yeah, Chantix sucks. Vaping will kill you also. Yes, it will. But honestly, I would much rather vape and maybe try to use that as a stepping stone to quitting. It's also a lot less smellier. So, oh, extension cord moving. We don't need that. We need that extension cord to stay right there. That's just going to cause us problems. Coming to Milan, Milan if it opens. I'm not sure. Where am I at? I am at DNS Fabricators. Any updates on Nick and Maddie's project? Even if I did have them, I wouldn't give them to you. So there's a thing, and like we were talking earlier about some of the videos. You know, when you do this kind of stuff, you have a respect for certain things. So like, you know, if Nick and Maddie had an update, I wouldn't give it to you guys in the live stream, and that's just out of respect for them because I would want that to be in their video. And you know, that's why, like, if you notice, like the SRC video, my in-car footage wasn't, you know, for me going whoop-de-whoop in the Nova wasn't in that video. Not that they didn't have it, but it's just like we try to leave certain things for each other. So out of respect, I wouldn't do that. Should I go live after you get off, Matt? Yeah, you might as well. You might as well take over this crowd, keep them entertained. That'll give you some time to get home and then listen to you. It's 95% safer than smoking. Oh, man. Did you know that if you put honey in your coffee, it will give you natural energy? I did not know that. I will try that. So is Bill the old, see, this is a message held for review, and I'm going to answer this one because normally typically I just skip over shitty questions. But so is Bill the old man as big of an asshole as everyone says he is? Bill is the dad, okay? So you got to understand this. You know, I don't know what relationship people have ever had with their father or whatever. But like, and I think this is kind of why it works so well because Bill is like a father figure in my life as well. But you know, does he get angry? Does he get upset? Does he get heated? Yes, but every normal human does. There is this giant misconception, I feel like, that because we do this stuff and this videos and we have public lives and everything, that nobody is ever allowed to have actual natural human emotion, which is all normal. And I think that's a misconception that people are like, oh, well, Bill's an asshole. Like, no, Bill's not.